Hey everyone, welcome back to Deported to Paradise. I'm Tanya and I got deported at the end of July in 2023 and I have been I started out in Puerto Vallarta and now I am in Nuevo Vallarta. So please comment, share, subscribe, and like. That would really help. And yeah, let's get on today's video. I wanted to talk about different culture shocks. Oh, and here's Cube. I'm sure Cube and Tupac, my dogs, will make an appearance at some point. So I wanted to talk about culture shocks. When you lived your life in the US for 40 years like I did, of course there's going to be things that are just completely different and where you're like, wow, really? So slower pace, everybody's slower pace here. I mean, it's like it's more relaxed, it's not so important if it's not life or death, that kind of thing, which is it's nice. I mean, not for me. I mean, I since I got clean, I do what I say I'm going to do, and I also am always on time, if not early. So, so yeah, and that kind of goes along with my next one, which is a lot of people don't keep their appointments. Like, we had somebody that was going to come look at our air conditioner, and they just didn't show up. The water delivery guy was supposed to deliver water, didn't text, didn't nothing, and just didn't show up. The realtors, I had gone through two different realtors. One of them kept rescheduling, and the other one, I think, I don't remember if they didn't show up or I don't remember, but um, it wasn't until the third one that they brought us to look at the house or whatever. So, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm just on time and I do my appointments, especially if it comes to, uh, you know, my my what I'm make a living out of, So I just thought that was very odd. Um, Mail. So I did a TikTok on this, and everybody was like just commenting, "We do have mail, blah blah blah." Well, there is mail here, but what I'm talking about is there's no mailboxes on, like over there on every house, and there's no mailmen working or women working, walking around or in their little cars or whatever. None of that. So here, I think what somebody told me was if you want to mail a letter, you would go to the post office wherever they have it, and that's where they send it off for you. And like for bills, I pay mine online, but they have people that come around and they'll put the bill in your door or somewhere where you can see it outside. So they go around all everywhere and they'll put the bill there because everybody pretty much pays electricity at the same time because it's every 2 months and I think it's depending on areas. Uh, so everybody in this area has to be due by a certain time, so they'll give us all our bills. One time, one of my friends sent me a Christmas card. I'm not sure when she sent it, but I ended up getting it in the middle of like February, which was fine. I mean, it was really cool to get, but it did take a long time. So, closets, there are no closets for the most part. Homes do not come with closets. So, like this house was completely naked. We had to buy our kitchen cabinets and all that stuff. We also had to buy two roperos, which are kind of like armoires or whatever you call it, and those we use as our closets, our closet space. There's not. They do kind of make closets, but they're like made out of that thick. I don't even know what you call it. Like, yeah, it's like the thick, this kind of thing or whatever. And Normally it's like shelves, and then there's a really small part for your hanging clothes. So, and if you're like me, you have a lot of clothes, so that didn't work. And honestly, the ropero I have is not enough, barely enough, but at least I have the other one that's my mom's, but I'm able to use that one. So I don't know. I've never seen an actual walk-in closet like we have over there. I'm sure people that have their homes built and stuff like that have them. Maybe some other people have them. I've just never seen one here. So I just thought weird, because where do people put their stuff? I mean, even cabinets down in the kitchen, there's no pantry, there's nothing in the bathroom, like even under the sink. I mean, there's nowhere to put your stuff, you know? So I just thought that was like, okay. Um, the ACs. Not everyone turns their ACs on. So, I live in Puerto Vallarta, well, Nueva Vallarta, which is really hot in the summer, like really hot. So when we were walking in the Malecon trying to find a place to eat, um, there were some places that, they didn't have their air conditioner on. They'll have fans going, or they'll have it off until somebody comes in and then they'll turn it on. Some places don't have it at all. Like my little store that I used to go to at my old apartment, it was a tiny little store, and it was hot because it's like everything was kind of crammed in, and then, just everybody that came in, it was just hot. So by the time I left that place, I was just pouring sweat. So I think people here are just used to the heat. I guess your body gets acclimated to, the heat and all that. I don't think I'm going to live long enough to get acclimated to that because I just can't do it without an air conditioner. I have air conditioners in every one of my rooms because there's not like a central air here. I mean, I'm sure you can get it, but I don't have it. So I have air conditioners in all three rooms, well, the living room and my two bedrooms. Um, so yeah, I'm never gonna live without an air conditioner, but I do have friends that don't turn theirs often, or they just don't have one. So, um, yeah, but there are some processes that may require more steps, or offices are slower and less organized than in the US. So, for example, when I went to get my electricity turned on, I tried to do it online. I couldn't. So then I went to the office, and I was missing some paperwork that my uh, people from the homes didn't give me. So I had to come back, and then I went back again, and they they only had two people working, by the way, and they needed copies of a bunch of this stuff, right? And they don't have copy machines there, which is just like, especially when you're asking for all these copies. So we had to drive around different places asking if they had a copy machine to do this with. And some of them were on my phone that they needed. So it was like, it took an extra hour and a half to get that done. And then we went back to sign up for the electricity. The same thing happened when I went to get my health insurance. They wanted copies. The only difference is there was a place across the street that did copies. So that's, if you're asking for copies, if you're not going to have a copy machine, that's a really more convenient way to, to help people that need copies. I mean, it was so frustrating driving around, and people are like, no, no. Then we found one, and I don't know, we had maybe 15 copies to make, and it stopped working on like the 10th or 11th copy. I don't know. So then we had to keep driving around. It was just a hot mess. So, and they only have, like I said, two people working, which that day I went was like on a Tuesday or Wednesday, I think. So they weren't that busy. But I had also gone on a Friday and it was jam packed. So we left and came back the next week during the week, and it was a lot less busy. So, um, yeah. And then the last thing I want to talk about, and it's not weird, it's just pretty much sad, and it's the worst, is all the stray dogs and cats that are here. Now, I know I hear a lot of people say, well, we have stray dogs and cats in America too. Well, yes, of course there are. But the US has shelters, a lot of shelters, so they put the dogs and whatever cats they can get and they take them to the shelter. Here, we don't have a lot of shelters. We have a few, but most of them are, you know, full most of the time. So you see strays just walking around. At my old apartment, I had started feeding a cat. I think it was one or two cats. And then by the time I finished, when I moved out, I probably fed about 30 cats, um, which is fine. I don't mind feeding the cats. I don't care if I would buy a big old thing of cat food and feed the cats, even though I didn't have one, but, they're hungry. So, and then my landlord told me I had to stop feeding them, and I'm like, I don't think so. So I would wait until he left because he had a store right across the street from where I lived. And I would wait until he left till they closed and at night. So I would feed them then. I'm sure he I'm sure he knew, but he never said anything to me after that. One thing they also do is they put poison out for the cats, which is just really awful. Um, I had a little stray dog that I fell in love with, but she just didn't want to come. She was happy being out on the street because everybody loved her, and she was just from here to there. And she was so tiny. I called her Biggie, but she got into some poison from what I imagine is somebody put out for the cats. And my landlord told me that she died. That he took her to the vet, but it was too late. So I just don't understand how people can be so cruel. But I mean, and as far as dogs go, I mean, uh, Cube was in rough shape when I got him. I mean, his tail was broken half. He didn't have hair on him in certain spots. He was skinny, skinny, skinny. He smelled really strong, and and he had an owner, supposedly. We saw him, my mom saw him, and they're like, oh, that's Chencho's dog. And I'm like, how does he have an owner? And my mom's like, well, we're keeping him. And he's like, yeah, you guys need to keep him because he never fed him and he made him eat out of the garbage. So I'm like, oh my God, don't tell me that. Especially how cuddly and affectionate Cube is. I just can't even imagine him out there, trying to fend for himself. I mean, that's why he doesn't have any front teeth because the vet said that dogs will eat rocks just to try and fill themselves up. So I thought that was it's just so awful. So that's the one that hit me the most is the animal situation. I mean, it literally got me depressed to where I had to just stop and try not to think about it because I was already going through my depression, but then you add this animals. I lost Biggie. One of my cats died. Just things like that. It was too much for me, so I had to just kind of forget the animal part, try to get better, and then, you know, I guess it kind of worked. I mean, so yeah, that was the worst. But I that's all I have as far as culture shocks. Let me know if you've been to Mexico, and uh, if you think one that should be on here, let me know. The next month or so, I have some exciting videos. I have an interview planned, or I'm trying to get a couple more. I'm going to do a walkthrough of my home because I've had people ask me for that. And then my mom's coming, so we're going to be in and out, going to different places. So, I'll be showing you some of the places that we go to or have been to. So, uh, yeah, that's really exciting. And please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we will see you next week. Thank you.